All right, all right. Welcome into the Hoops Rehab Show. After Game 3 of the NBA Finals, Eric, we have a series. How you doing?
You took the words out of my mouth. We do have a series. Although I thought New York would, probably handle business one of these two games, game 3 or 4. Kind of glad, obviously, that at least Spurs won a game, and we know at the very least it's going to go back to San Antonio on Saturday, I believe. So yeah, it's I know we're got a lot to unpack, but a great performance, obviously, by the Spurs, and this time they were able to finish it off.
Yeah, I mean, it's what you want to see in the NBA Finals, especially with how the first 2 games have gone. Like, it's been a great final so far. Like,
yeah, really
games have been intense. You've had runs from both teams. Spurs have had at least a 12-point lead in every single game, so you know that they're in the series. So you didn't want the series to become 3-0 and just be like, all right, it's over. History always says nobody repeats and nobody does anything. Nobody's ever won 4 in a row in a playoff series. So I'm glad we're going to see a game 4 with money on the line, pretty much, and see what happens.
Could be the series.
But yeah, let's get into it, man. So,
yep.
I thought, well, number one, let's get into the hoopla leading up into Game 3.
Yeah.
Right. So we had a lot of things going on. First finals game in New York since '99. Right. You got the ticket prices that were up to $10,000 at least minimum to kind of get into, or that's what they were saying. You had the president of the United States going to be attending. So then you had extra security around the fences everywhere. The normal block parties that they would have weren't really going on in the area that they normally have it, but they had them all throughout the city. So that was that. Eric, I'm going to ask you one question before we kind of get into it. Do you think that this was a distraction for the New York Knicks, Game 3, with all the things going on?
I think, I don't know if you want to call it distraction or call it maybe being a little tight, or all of the above. But so obviously the games are decided, between the lines, like on the court, and I really truly believe that. But sometimes there is like a game between the game, or within the game, I should say. And I remember last show I talked about where I think maybe San Antonio might run into a buzzsaw in the beginning of this game, but the more the weekend went by, I kind of started thinking like, man, this just seems so long, even though it was just obviously 3, I guess, almost full days. But something about this build up, right? Spurs were down 2-0, Knicks up 2-0, coming back to New York, haven't won it in years, since the early 70s. You heard a lot of like New York folk, just people that have been Knicks fans for a long time. They could taste it. They're talking about like a parade this weekend. I was listening to someone, right? Yeah, exactly. And it just got me thinking, like, obviously with President Donald Trump, right? Being there too, it really started making me think like, man, this is just a lot. And I kind of feel good about San Antonio. You got Wemby like sitting in Central Park painting. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
Right. Kind of relaxed. And, I know you got to go in there and you got to play, but something about just the feelings of this past weekend and the game finally getting here, I'm really not surprised the Spurs came out and threw the first punch and obviously ultimately won.
Quarter.
Like, what are your thoughts? I'm assuming, you got to think it has to have a somewhat of an effect.
Yeah, I thought the pressure was always going to be on the Knicks this game.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I didn't think the pressure was on the Spurs.
Even though it's like it should have been, but it wasn't. It was weird.
And I feel like, yes, the Spurs the youth kind of showed and some inexperience showed in games 1 and 2, the ability to close out a game. But you have your leader who's the calmest of everybody, right? Like, he talks about it. Yes, I made a mistake. I'm going to hold myself accountable.
Yep.
Do I believe we're going to win? Of course I believe we're going to win, right? And then he's out there painting like whatever he's doing.
I know.
Right? Like, calm. He went training with the monks over the summer. Like, some of that is going to play dividends, right?
Yeah.
Now, I thought in the first quarter they just looked tight, the Knicks, right? And that's when the Spurs kind of came out to an advantage. And once you kind of give that like beginning punch, you know this is going to be a dogfight. You know this is going to be a game. And when when the Knicks started doing their thing and they went on the run in the second quarter, they're like, all right, that's New York basketball, right?
Yep.
There was a big play when Stephen Castle, got offensive foul against Jalen Brunson, kind of knocked him on his butt. And they went on what was it? I think the Spurs were up by 4, and then they closed the half, and the Knicks were up by 7, right? So it was like a huge 11-point swing.
Yep.
But what did San Antonio do in that third quarter? They literally came out and said, no, we're not going to lose this. And Wemby went to work. Stephen Castle had a big first half, right? Like that was huge for them. And they got some big buckets by Dylan Harper in the third quarter. They got big buckets by, even though he had not such a big game or anything, but De'Aaron Fox had some good plays down the stretch defensively and also had a couple buckets that he needed in the clutch in the fourth. And that's what you want to see out of a veteran. I know he's not where he is. He's not 100% at all with that high ankle sprain, but he came through at the end. And we were talking about, should you change the starting lineup, right? Should Dylan Harper get more minutes? And he got 32 minutes, and a lot of those were pretty effective, but his shot wasn't on like always, right? He was I think he was 1 for
8 from 3.
1 for 8 from 3. Yeah, so he kind of shot a lot of threes, which is, I would say that's a little more uncharacteristic of him because he's usually getting to the rim or getting to the basket and attacking. But he did have a lot of good minutes in there, right? And they needed that, every one of them.
Yeah, I mean, everything I said about obviously the Spurs coming out and winning the game. I'll be honest. When the Knicks went on that 42-24 run in the second quarter, I truly thought like, okay, so they took San Antonio's best punch. And it's going to just it's just the Knicks' time. But that first 5 minutes or so of the third quarter, I think was just so crucial in this game, in this series, where New York was up 7. Does it go to 11 or 12 and San Antonio starts to really feel it? Or does San Antonio come back like that, which they did? And I that's exactly what happened. Obviously, we talk about it, the make or miss league type of thing. And Spurs were so close to winning game 2. They missed a big shot. This time, De'Aaron Fox hit that big shot, I believe, to go up 5. Obviously within 30 or so seconds, or I think 12 seconds or so. I know Knicks hit a couple threes and then made it a free throw game. And obviously Spurs stepped up and hit some big free throws. But yeah, it was just the cool, calm collectiveness of Wemby. He obviously showed out 32 points. And you talked about Dylan Harper. I know sometimes on the road you just often don't shoot as well, but he obviously still was a big part of the game. And so where the Spurs really couldn't make the big plays in games 1 and 2, maybe they've figured something out here in game 3.
Yeah, I mean, overall, like San Antonio did what they needed to do, obviously, to win the game.
Yeah.
I thought Wemby, I mean, I know he's had some heroic performances in the playoffs so far. Obviously, the game 1 against OKC, double overtime game. But I would put this performance in New York, the pressure of what you need to do to win, as his best performance in playoffs. I mean, he was, 11 for 18, didn't shoot a ton of shots, but was so efficient where he was. 8 and 9 from the free throw line, still had his usual performance on defense, right? Boards and blocks and causing missed shots.
Yep.
And I thought that was huge. And just like the whole game, he looked so confident. Like nothing looked like he was going to be deterred from even when they went on the run and then in the second quarter, the Knicks, it's like, no, we're good. Like we're going to be all right. You saw him picking up his teammates. So man, like, yes, we talked about some youth stuff and inexperience in game 2, but this dude does not play like a third-year player. Like he is so much more mature, and I think that maturity helped a ton in game 3.
Yeah, I was thinking if they come back and win this thing, that picture of him in Central Park with his sister is gonna like just live on forever. Imagine like I could see them like superimposing like an Eiffel Tower in the back or something.
I mean,
Right? I mean, just talk about like I said, just the craziness of New York, right? And just the fanfare, like the Knicks just being oh so close, and they still are oh so close. And then you got like the big fella, young cat, like just obviously not like the moment is not too big for him. I don't. That's the one thing that I don't know if it's win or lose. Maybe we thought game 2, the moment was a little bright, perhaps.
Yeah.
I think just in general, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's going to be one between the dotted lines, and we'll see. I think game 4, things are going to settle down a bit. You've got your one finals game in New York over with, right? It hadn't been one in 27 years there since that game 5 against the Spurs last time. And it's still going to be a rocking crowd, but I just think it's like, I don't know, just maybe a breath of fresh air. Especially for the Knicks going into next game, and obviously for the Spurs too, who I think at this point it's like, I don't want to put it out there, but it feels like game 4 winner, could be the team that wins this thing.
Yeah, it'd be pretty interesting. Now, getting to the Knicks, I thought there were some crucial things that happened in this game.
Yep.
I thought number 1, Cat needed to have a big game, and he got sorely outplayed by Wemby tonight. Right? Like he just wasn't really effective on the court, like in a way of like you didn't notice them, right? I mean, he shot 10 shots, 4 for 10, 11 points. Like you definitely need more out of him in order to win this series. He's got to have a big game. Like, yes, he's been effective, like with his 18, 16, that type of like team points, and they're all playing. They share the ball. They do really well with like passing the ball around the court. But I need him to have a big game, right?
Yeah.
Brunson obviously had 32, but I felt like it was the hardest 32 he ever got, right? Like
all three games, they've really been.
Spurs are making him work. Like his field goal percentage, like just how many shots he's taking in this series is up there with a lot. Like he's not getting to the free throw line. I would say I would say he would normally get a little bit more calls, but they're making it very, very tough for him throughout this series. Right. So he's shooting 37% from field goal in the series. Right.
There you go.
That's not good. That's not Jalen Brunson. And the Spurs guards are huge. Right. Stephen Castle's a strong dude. Dylan Harper, his length is bothering Jalen Brunson. And even De'Aaron Fox is a good defender, right? Like he's no slouch of a defender. I think they're going to have to figure out a way to take some off his plate and have Cat involved a little bit more. And then that will open up Brunson in game 4 and for the rest of the series.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're seeing in the first few games that it's really tough right now for Brunson. And I think it could be a concern, like as the series rolls on and it goes to 6, 7, whatever. Is he going to be a little bit of like a shell of himself because he's getting beat up out there? As he had a couple of really good performances still, and that's what really, really good players do and great players. But yeah, I mean, with all the talks were about if the series ended after 2 games, which it never does, that maybe Cat was the finals MVP. And I don't know if he kind of read too much into it. Again, a long weekend of just hearing a lot, right? A lot. Exactly. I think your facial expression has said it all. And
I'm trying to figure out who was talking about Cat being the finals MVP.
Yeah. It was out there. Like, because Brunson has had obviously an off kind of series.
Okay.
And the consistency was, I guess, Cat for the first 2 games.
Yeah, true.
Now,
no, he did play well the first 2 games.
Like you said, not like a tremendous, number or offensive, he got 30 or anything like that. But I think tonight we kind of saw like a little bit of the we've seen the good and the bad of Cat. And so he doesn't need to play 7 good games, but he needs to play 4, right, out of the 7. And so, yes, I think him, he'll take a little bit of pressure off of obviously Brunson. Trying to think who else can do that. I mean, hey, like OG Anunoby had a tremendous game, and I mean, Knicks had some spurts where they played well.
For sure.
Shamet, obviously, who was a little bit of a hero in game 2, he was, 1 for 8 and 1 for 7 from 3. And that's the thing with these role players, right? If you can get a game out of them and they win a game for you, that's all you can really ask for. And so I think it's going to come down to Karl Anthony Towns. And obviously if, Jalen Brunson can have one of those like kind of legendary games, at this point.
Yeah. I wanted to get to, I thought it was a pivotal moment in the game. Jalen Brunson picked up his 4th foul with, I think, 4:39 to go in the third quarter.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He did not, let's see, when did he get back in the game? He did not come back into the game until 9:18 in the 4th.
Wow.
That's a long-ass time, Eric. I mean, you're talking about a huge swing in the game where Jalen Brunson did not go in because of 4 fouls. I get holding him out for that third quarter, right? You got 4 minutes to go, let him go, let you guys kind of go to work and give him that rest. But to start the fourth quarter, I thought he should have been in, and I thought Mike Brown actually waited too long to put him in. I'm not saying it's like the worst mistake you can make, but I thought if you got a guard with 4 fouls, you kind of trust him, let him start the fourth quarter. And if for some reason you were to pick up that 5th foul earlier, then you kind of give him a little break and then kind of bring him back for the last, 5 minutes of the game or whatnot. I thought that was a huge opportunity that was missed by the New York Knicks, especially trying to close out this series.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking to see. Yeah, I mean, look, so it was about at that point in the third quarter was kind of going back and forth, and bam, all of a sudden in that stretch, a little bit into the fourth, the Spurs went up about 8 points, right? And then they obviously took it to 10, 11. Yeah. And so we can kind of look at that and say, I mean, he's obviously not going to play 48 minutes a game and he's going to have to get his rest. But I wonder, obviously with fouls, it's a little bit tricky because, obviously if you put him in the very beginning of the fourth, he picks up his 5th, he's probably out until the 4 or 5 minute mark. But I mean, honestly, like I don't have to tell you this. It's obviously a huge game and you kind of got to do things a little different than you would in like a regular season. And so I think just the proof is in the pudding. I mean, literally it was a 1-point game and Spurs brought it up to about 8 or 9 in that stretch, right? With him being out. And let's be honest, I mean, that was probably the ball game because Knicks never really came back. I mean, they had obviously a little run, but they never came back and took the lead or even tied it.
Yeah, for sure. I thought it was one of those moves that could cost them the game, and it unfortunately did, right? If he was, who knows if he was playing those minutes, would they still lost the game? Probably. Yeah. I'm not saying that it's the most important. I just thought if you needed to stop a run, a team that's surging, who's the person that's going to do that? It's Jalen Brunson, because surely Cat was not doing that tonight.
Yeah, like I feel like Mike Brown was maybe thinking like it was a blessing in disguise where we can get him some quality minutes on the pine just to rest up for like a last 8 or 9 minute push. Because we like we just talked about, he's had a real tough series. So I think he was kind of trying to kind of buy some time there. But and again, who knows what would have happened, but 2 or 3 minutes here and there can change a complexion of a series. Yeah. And so that's literally what happened. Again, did the Knicks come back? Did they have opportunities? Yes. But I would imagine, just kind of knowing the way the first 2 games, the Spurs had to have learned something. They obviously, shut the door when it counted.
Yeah. Jalen Brunson has fouled out 5 times in his career. Right.
So he knows how to play with fouls.
Like he knows how to play with fouls. Yeah. So I find that as a bad mistake, but hey, we're going to move on.
Yeah, I think if it was like a big guy, somebody in the paint, somebody that's like their defensive specialist or the best defensive player, Josh Hart or something, right? Sure. I don't know, right? I think you think different, but yeah, good point. He's not him only fouling out 5 times in his career shows that he knows how to play with fouls. So yeah, but it is what it is.
Yep. Now the Spurs figured out a way to close the game.
Yes.
Right. I feel that's going to be huge for them moving forward. Because they've been in every single game. They've had leads of 12 points or more in all 3 games, right? Now, there's never been a team in history that have lost the first 2 home games and have won the NBA Finals, Eric.
Yeah, I know.
Can the Spurs be the first to do that?
I think they can. I don't think it would be this big shock. I mean, it is surprising when a team loses 2 at home and then win the next 2 on the road. It's happened. I mean, I could think of a handful of times that it's kind of happened in the playoffs. Definitely not in the finals, at least that I know of. But it does. I've just think of a few through history. So it's possible. But I always, after the Knicks won the first 2 games, it was really hard for me to pick against the Knicks, as we talked about it. We want to see them lose a game because they had it in like a month and a half before anything. But now that they've lost, I feel comfortable kind of saying, like, I really do see Knicks kind of taking care of business and winning in 6. But that being said, the question is, will it be a surprise? Can it happen? Yes, it can. Will it happen? I'm still leaning towards on the side of the Knicks.
I find this a challenging question. One, because of how young the Spurs are.
Yeah.
But on the other side, I see a Victor Wembanyama in this series that is not fatigued. And one of the big reasons is because of the schedule. So you got these 2-day, these days that you're having 2 or 3 days in between. And then you have every other day, right? Like game 4 would be on Wednesday, but they're not going to play again until Saturday and then Tuesday and then Friday.
Yeah.
So
they really spread it out.
I'm telling you right now, if the Knicks lose game 4, the Spurs are going to win this series because Victor is going to get the most rest the rest of the 3 games. If it needs to go 3, right? I'm just saying, like, they could win 6. But if it goes 7, he's getting rest every game. And he has not looked fatigued in this series at all.
No.
Like, first game he just had a tough game shooting, but he did not look fatigued, right? Last 2 games he has looked as advertised and like one of the best players in the league.
Yep.
So I would caution the Knicks to don't lose game 4 because that will be a very, very hard game 5 for them in San Antonio.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a series stretches out, it's going to favor San Antonio, especially when you're the team that was down 0-2. And so I think this quick turnaround, that's why I talk about Wednesday being the game. So I think it favors the Knicks a bit because they're a well-rested team. San Antonio's, been in a 6-game series and a 7-game series, especially against the Thunder. So these like 1 day in between games, I think it's a little bit difficult for San Antonio, which is what we got here coming up Wednesday, pretty quick. But as you said, after Wednesday, literally it's Saturday, Tuesday, Friday. And I think that favors the Spurs. And yeah, don't go, if you're Knicks, don't go winning 2 in San Antonio, then come and losing 2 on the road. I think it's,
God, no.
Is it officially a wrap? No, but I mean, it's as much of a like throwing away what you did the first 2 games as I've ever seen in a series. Yeah. And so, I think winner of game 4 wins the series straight up,
I think that's a very fair statement because the Knicks taking advantage of 3-1. I think it will likely they'll be able to finish that off in 6.
Win 1 of the 3.
Or game 5, right?
Yeah.
But man, if those Spurs get a chance to go back to San Antonio with a 2-2, feeling like they just saved their season, man, I'm telling you, the Knicks fans are going to be losing their shit in New York.
It'll be nervous time for sure.
Well,
it already is going to be.
Like I was watching some of the pregame stuff and some NBA Today stuff, and Knicks in 4, all the champs. Knicks in 4. You got the mayor talking about he paid $1,000 to show up. You got Trump showing up. You got celebrities all over, costing $7,000, $10,000 just to get in. I'm telling you, New York, Don't do it.
Yeah.
You can't lose this series. The city will. I mean, okay, Eric, just imagine they lose this series. How will this be talked about in New York? Like, they'll just be so hurt. Like, I mean, this would be like a pure heartbreak.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you go to the finals and you play the Thunder or something, and man, we lose to the Thunder in 5, right? And it's like, hey, or we lose to the San Antonio Spurs in 5. But when we win those first 2 over there in San Antonio, and we come back and obviously, look, by them winning those first 2 in San Antonio, they earned the fact that they probably just needed 1 of game 3 or 4. That's how I always see it. Like, of course, you go for the sweep. But in a lot of cases, it's like we just got to get one of our home games now, which in a lot of other cases is like we got to get both. Yeah. And so they've earned that. But if they end up losing this series, for whatever reason, yeah, it's going to haunt this city in terms of like everything around Madison Square Garden for a long time. Because I'm telling you right now, this is going to be their one shot for a while. And so we got to cash in.
Yeah. And for the Spurs, they got to go out game 4.
Huge for them too, obviously.
Like the same feeling they had in game 3. Like their season is on the line, because it is, right? So they have to come out and be like, you know what? We need to go back to San Antonio tied up, and we'll win the series. So this series is as advertised. I feel like it's exactly what the NBA needed. Big ass market in New York, one of the biggest global superstars right now. And it's colliding. I mean, obviously it costs for so much to get into New York to see a game. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Wednesday, Eric, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, it's proven. Honestly, teams are obviously, make viewership, but in my opinion, it's about stars and just
for sure.
The next big thing. And like as you said, they also happen to be playing the Knicks, which is like obviously the the biggest market out there. And yeah, it's been good. It's been good. I guess like I'm selfishly glad Spurs won, because at least we get one more game, if not a couple more than we thought. I think it would be a shame if this obviously would have ended in a sweep or something like that. But yeah, here we are. Time to buckle up, and obviously Wednesday's game is the biggest game of the season right now. Yeah,
it's gonna be crazy. All right, Eric, before we get out of here, you got anything else to add?
That's it. Other than game 4 is game 7.
Oh yeah, by far the biggest game in New York's Knicks history.
Ooh,
is game
like
4.
That.
I'm telling you, Eric, the biggest game in their history. Like, yes, their history needs to win 4, but if you don't get that third victory in game 4, you guys are in trouble.
Yes, because I don't see them winning the first 3 in San Antonio, right? And then you go down 3-2, you got to come back and maybe they at least win one of the 3, and then it probably goes 7. But yeah. It's gotta make it happen. I think it's either Knicks in 6 or Spurs in 7. So we'll see.
And I know the swing of the finals gets you. Obviously, after game 2, I said it's over for San Antonio. But this is why it's the NBA, and it's the game we love, and it's never over until you close somebody out.
Sure.
All right. For the Hoops Rehab team, we are out tonight. We will see you guys Wednesday. Peace out, guys.
Peace out.